everybody, it's Melanie from thehedonistcook.com, and the recipe I'm going to be doing tonight is pretty different than anything I've done so far on The Hedonist Cook. I am using a box cake to make a dessert, which I normally don't condone at all, but for two reasons I think it's okay this time. The first is this was one of my favorite desserts growing up, and the second is it is July in Tennessee and it is just too hot to be baking too much. I don't feel like it. My house gets too hot. I don't want to do it, but I was craving cake and I wanted something light and yummy, and I thought of my mom's old lemon cake recipe. So get your ingredients together and we'll get started. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is get our ingredients together. For this recipe, it's going to take a yellow box cake, any brand you want, a 3-ounce package of regular lemon jello, is going to be 3/4 of a cup of oil, 4 eggs, medium or large is fine, a 1/4 cup of lemon juice, and 1/2 cup of water, and that's it. So the first thing that we're going to do is open up the dreaded box cake. It's literally the only time I will ever use a box cake. I think they're awful, but this recipe somehow it just works. So we're going to take that and take the lemon jello. Pour it in there. We're just going to mix it up real quick. This really isn't a big enough bowl to bake a cake in, but it's the biggest one I have for some reason. I don't know where all my mixing bowls have gone, so I might slop over the sides a little bit. Okay, so from here it says to add in basically everything at once. It doesn't really matter. So we're going to add in our oil, our eggs, our 1/4 cup lemon juice, and our 1/2 cup of water. So it says from here to follow the instructions as it says on the box. So on this box it says to blend everything for 30 seconds until moistened at low speed, and then beat at medium speed for 2 minutes. That's pretty standard for any cake. So just until moistened means that everything's incorporated and there's no dry chunks. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so we've beaten this for 2 minutes and we stopped at 1 minute and we scraped down the sides. That's a really important step. Make sure to scrape around the sides and the bottom to make sure that you don't have any dried batter, because that is bad news. So just stir it like this and then make sure to go 1 time on the bottom. You can wipe it off on your beaters or on the side, it doesn't really matter. So you can see it's really smooth now. It's a good consistency. That's what we're looking for in cake batter. Pretty much any cake batter unless it calls for something different. So we've preheated our oven to whatever it says on the magical box. In this case it's 325, and we have already greased and floured our pan, because we always prep our stuff ahead of time here on The Hedonist Cook. And we are going to pour it into here. This is a 9x13 pan. That's one of the other things that makes this recipe just so fun and easy, is it's a sheet pan and you serve it straight out of the container, so there's no transferring it and getting fancy decorations and all that, but it's still really good. So it's also something I like to bring to parties where it's real casual, especially if there's going to be kids and I don't really want to be slaving over some multiple layer cake. I bring it over to my parents' house a lot because I have a bunch of nieces and they like it, and again, it's easy. I'm only using, 2 containers and a spatula. That's pretty good as far as cleanup goes. So now that we have it in the container or the pan, I just kind of try to shake it to make sure that it's incorporated everywhere. Another thing you can do if you want to get some of the bubbles, I'm not sure if you can see, but there's little bubbles forming, and you can just drop it a couple times. It's really loud. And that'll pop some of the air bubbles so it's a little bit flatter. So now we're going to put it in the oven. I think on this recipe it says, what is this, 13x9, 32 minutes. So we're going to put the timer on for 30 minutes, check it, and see how it's going. Okay, so the cake just came out of the oven, And I forgot to mention one part that I did. As soon as it came out, I poked holes across the whole thing like this, and I took a cup of powdered sugar and 4 tablespoons of lemon juice. I stirred it together, and then I just drizzled it over the top. So you can see I just basically went in a circle like this, and then you spread it around with the back of a spoon. And that's the only topping that it gets. And what it does is it melts because the cake's hot, and it soaks in, and it makes it really moist and a little bit almost crunchy on top. It's really delicious. So now we're just gonna hang out and try not to eat this while it's hot and wait probably 45 minutes to an hour before we cut it and see what it tastes like. Okay, so I know we were supposed to wait 45 minutes to an hour, but honestly, the minute I turned the camera off, I took a bite of it because it was so good. And I waited about 15 minutes. And this is what it looks like. Very simple, but really, really good. I love it. It makes me feel like I'm a little kid. I didn't take any time to make. I made this in like 2 Weeds episodes, so super easy. That's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions about the video, please feel free to email me. Visit my website for more videos and how-tos and all that good stuff at thehedonistcook.com. Thanks.